Again, my name is Tom Monkus. I'm from Delaware Credit Counseling also. I'm going to go over the basis of your credit report and credit scoring. The first thing I want to touch on is the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Fair credit reporting is federal laws and guidelines of how credit grantors, what they can report to the bureaus, the bureau's responsibility on how to report that, how to house it, how to split it back out to your creditors when you're looking for new credit. I just want to let you understand what your rights are under that. There's just some basics. There's going to be a handout that you can pick up after the seminar with these specs again, just in case you don't have to remember it all. You must be told if information on your file has been used against you. If you're denied an application for credit, insurance, or employment. If you ever got a denial and said, you got denied because of these reasons, late pay, whatever it happens to be, and we got this information from TransUnion, we got this information from Equifax, we got this information from Experian, okay? They're required by law to tell you that. So you know where your recourse is, where to go back and try to address that information. You have the right to know what's in your file. You have the right to get a free credit file if, besides the law, this is you can get one anyways, but you have the right to get a free one anytime you have adverse action against you. You're a victim of identity theft, you have inaccurate information reported in your credit report, if you're on public assistance, if you're unemployed but expect to be employed within 60 days, you have a right to a free credit report because you want to view that credit report before your employer may view it. You have the right to ask for your credit score. If on a regular deal, if you're just going to a car place, they're not required to give you your credit score. If you apply for a mortgage, there's a new law that requires them to send you a credit score. If you apply for a mortgage and they pull your credit report, you will get your credit scores in the mail from that mortgage, either mortgage company or the company that pulled your credit or that supplied your credit score, the actual bureau. If you want a copy of your credit score after you apply for a car loan or a credit card, you may have to pay a fee for it depending on the credit grantor. But you can ask for it, but just know you may have to have a fee for it. You have the right to dispute any incomplete or inaccurate information, and the Bureau is required by law to respond positively or negatively to that in a certain amount of time. Some guidelines are 30, some guidelines are 60. It all depends on what the inquiry is. They have to either come back and say, this is correct, it's staying on, this is incorrect, we're taking it off. Consumer reporting agencies must correct or inaccurate information. They may not report outdated negative information. I've already said that times earlier. Collections, late payment trade lines are going to stay in your credit report for up to 7 years. Bankruptcies, judgments, liens can stay in your credit report up to 10 years. After that time, they're not allowed to leave them on your credit report. They do have a policing system where they remove them at the bureaus from your credit report. And if they report a 9-year-old collection on your credit report, the date of last activity is more than 9 years old, they're breaking the federal guidelines. Yes?
Let's say you have an account that's gone to collections and you're referring to that date of last activity. If the account changes from one collection agency or creditor to another, does that reinitiate the?
Yes, and that's why sometimes people have an old debt at a defunct place of business. You might have bought, a washer and dryer at some place that went out of business. They went to a collection agency first, then that collection agency didn't collect it from you, and they sold that debt to another collection agency. When another collection agency buys the debt, they list it again, and that's a new date of last activity, and that clock starts ticking over again. And that's their debt. They own it. They can collect it for as long as they own it, and they can keep it going for a longer because it's been refreshed again.
So as long as they try to collect on it.
If someone keeps selling it and keeps it active and staying on there, that's correct, because it's based on date of last activity. Access to your file is limited. Everyone can't go out and pull your credit report. They have to have a valid reason to pull your credit report. That's a creditor, an insurer, an employer, and a landlord. Those are the people that can actually legally look at your credit report. You must give consent before an employer, a future employer, pulls your credit report. So if you fill out an application when you're applying for a job, and if there's a disclosure that says that you're allowing them to pull your credit report, you have to sign that and allow them to. They can't just pull your credit report blindly. All right, so understand that if you think your credit report was pulled and you didn't authorize it at a future employer, you have recourse there. You may limit the pre-screened offers. If people get credit card offers in the mail, there's a couple different ways. You can call an 800 number that's on the flyer, or you can use the opt-out service, which is in writing, or use the 800 number. So if you don't want to get those pre-screened offers, just opt out. It's in Fair Credit Reporting. You won't get those pre-screened offers anymore. Because they're actually going with some data that the credit grantor thinks they're going to be able to fit people into a credit worthiness that they're going to give you a credit card to, and they're taking a blind sweep at the bureau and then mailing to that blind sweep to see if you want the credit report. They haven't actually pulled your credit report. They've just kind of done kind of an overview saying that you people kind of fit into this guideline that I want to give credit cards to. And you may see damages from violators, and you may sue in state or federal court. So this law will hold up in state and federal court if you have to have recourse. Okay? So that's just your rights under Fair Credit Reporting. Now we're going to go credit score. I'm going to go through later on, just in a few moments, through the whole credit report. The credit report is a very valuable tool that's almost not used by credit grantors anymore. The old days, 30 years ago, we had a bunch of people that were loan officers and actual underwriters that went through your credit report, looked at every single trade line, and said, this is good, this behavior is good, this behavior is bad, there's a pocket of bad behavior here, what happened? Oh, we had a car accident, we had a divorce, we had a problem. That's why this customer's going, and they would actually score you on their experience in banking or in underwriting. Nowadays, banker's a banker, not taking away from you guys, but you fit the credit score, you don't fit the credit score. A company called Fair Isaacs has come up with a bunch of different formulas, and the formula would be from here to Miami to figure it out. It's wild. I've seen some of it before. It's crazy. It's kind of a secret kind of thing, but I can kind of give you an idea about what the basics are, what your credit score is. So now, if you apply for a credit card, and they're giving credit cards to people with a 550 to a 720, and you fall in there, doesn't matter what your trade lines look like, you can be offered the credit card. If you got a 549, you're not offered the credit card. Okay? There's no big guy that used to be the loan officer or the underwriter looking back at all your trade lines and saying, well, this guy's got a 549 because he just had a divorce. That's why. This means he doesn't want to pay his bills because of this crisis. Nobody can see the crisis any longer. It's now your credit score. In your credit score, payment history is 35%. That's how you actually pay your trade lines. The amounts owed is 30% of your credit score. The length of your credit history is 15% of your credit score. The new credit you just recently applied for is 10% of your credit score. And the types of credit used is 10% of your credit score. So what weighs the heaviest? 65% of your credit score is payment history and amounts owed. That's how you can affect your credit score most effectively. Pay your bills on time and keep your balances under control.